Welcome back, True Seeker. It is May 29th, 2025. If JFK were alive, it would be his birthday. Again, JFK was the 35th president killed on Interstate 35 in Dallas. And he was also born on the 149th day of the year, which is the 35th prime number. He also defeated Richard Nixon 305 days from Nixon's birthday. Of course, 305 is a lot like 35. And again, if you go through history, you're going to start to realize that pretty much all of the elections have been this way. And all of the assassinations have major parallels as well. Why is it so numbers and numerology oriented? Again, look no further than what the nickname of the capital is, the Masonic City. What do Masons etch on their temple? All is number. Where was JFK killed? He was killed in Dealey Plaza, named after a Scottish Rite Freemason and a guy who owned newspapers. Of course, JFK once gave that speech about secrecy, and he was talking to the gathering of journalists and newspapers when he gave that infamous speech about secrecy. If you never heard that one, look it up. It used to be real easy to look up on YouTube until they censored everything in 2017. But what adds meaning to these numbers is Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Again, Masonry is based in Kabbalah. I learned about this in the 1926 book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, the 4 ciphers of the English language, the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. The alphabetic order with numerology applied. You can see that Catholic equals 35. JFK was the nation's first Catholic president. Of course, Joe Biden was the second. But the other ciphers, the reverse alphabetic order, just running the alphabetic order in reverse. Z is 1 back to A is 26. Here, so you can see this on the screen. Alphabetic order. Catholic 71. A is 1 up to Z is 26. Alphabetic order with numerology applied. A still 1, B still 2, C still 3. You see it changes at J. That's because J is the 10th letter, and the numerology of 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1. Z is the 26th letter. The numerology of 26 is 2 plus 6 is 8. You're just doing that to each letter. Why the 25th letter becomes 2 plus 5 is 7. So again, the other 2 ciphers are just running the alphabetic order in reverse and running it in reverse with numerology. And I'm sure a good Catholic knows what stands out about 145 and 46. There's 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament, whereas there's 39 with the Protestant Old Testament. And there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. And again, it makes sense that the language is this way, because if you look into the English language, the oldest known script goes back to a Catholic monk, Burford of Ramsey Abbey. And it was the Jesuits who served the Catholic Church who standardized the English alphabet with 26 letters. At the same time, they implemented the calendar. So again, JFK was number 35, killed at age 46. Joe Biden, we told you a year before he became president-elect why he would become number 46 with the election 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday and the inauguration on the 35th day of the Pope's age, not to mention how he sacrificed his son, Beau Biden, at 46, and he let Hunter Biden, born on the 35th day of the year, get humiliated all throughout his presidency. Again, these things aren't an accident. Hunter Biden, born on the 35th day of the year, JFK was killed in the time of the Archer, Sagittarius. So these are the base ciphers of the language, right? There are other ciphers of English that matter. There's something called Sumerian Gematria. Let me write out JFK assassination, which the day is often referred to as. Again, I didn't create that term. You look it up. It's almost always called the JFK assassination. You see how it equals 187? There's a lot that can be said about 187 because it's a huge number. It connects the Jesuits, the Masons, Washington, D.C., George Washington, huge number 187. But JFK was killed in the 187th year of the nation's existence. And of course, the numbers associated with homicide. Sumerian Gematria, which Jimmy Kimmel's made fun of on his own show where he broadcasts from the Masonic Temple of Hollywood, that's just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. A is 6, B is 12, C is 18, D is 24. You can see JFK assassination is 11/22, just like the day he was killed, November 22nd in the 187th year of the nation's existence. Another cipher that's important, it's known as Jewish Gematria. Derek, on his calculator, renamed it Latin. JFK was shot from 411 Elm Street. And the word assassin in that cipher, which pays tribute to the Hebrew form of counting letters as numbers, assassin is 411. JFK shot from 411 Elm Street by Oswald. And again, with regards to Oswald, he has a very familiar number in his name, and that number is 74. Three of the first five U.S. presidents died on July 4th. Oswald 74, Killing 74, Holiday 74, Independence Day 74, Masonic 74, the 74th day of the year to remember the killing of Caesar in 44 BC. Notice the word kill alone is 44, like execution, like shooting. JFK was number 35, but the 44th term president. You know, a lot of parallels between his assassination and Abraham Lincoln's. If you look into all the presidential assassinations, they all have 44 on it. Even the first president to die in office died on April 4th. I wrote a book about this, Letters and Numbers. There's a chapter on all of the presidents to die in office. So far, 8 to date, they've all died in connection to the number 44. But, yeah. There is a lot more on the JFK assassination. In that same book, Letters and Numbers, there's a whole chapter on the Kennedy curse, all the Kennedys who've died suspiciously. Just for the record, you see how Kennedy curse equates to 144, 54, and 63, like the year JFK died in? 144 and 54 is just like Jesuit order. Remember, JFK died 144 days from meeting the Pope on July 2nd. His brother died at 1:44 a.m., and notice Dealey Plaza also equals 54, where JFK died. And by the way, this year, if JFK were alive, he would have turned 108 years old today. Last year, Trump had the hoax 45 days after JFK's birthday anniversary when he was still number 45, yet to earn the title 47, which we told you was coming 4 years ago. Trump 47. But Ambassador Hotel, where his brother died, also 54, like Kennedy curse. And don't forget, when RFK Jr. officially got in the race, it was 144 days after the Superior General's birthday on the 5th day of the 4th month. And you see that 153 as well. That's also a Jesuit order. We just talked about that with the pandemic agreement in the major Jesuit ritual on Cannonball Day to remember their leader being shot in history for the new shot protocol for the world. Again, you guys, the Jesuits are the daddies of the Masons. So again, DC is known as the Masonic city, but what's more hidden is that the Jesuits set up camp in DC and eventually moved the capital there on Inauguration Day to the symbolic 201st day of the nation's age. Again, the Jesuits have a fixation with 201. It's like Trump shoving his ex-wife down the stairs. I don't know that he actually shoved her, but she died exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year, which began on Cannonball Day. Donald Trump, 60, the same day he said he'd run in the election, which was the 60th. Again, the first degree of Freemasonry is the apprentice. He won the 58th election as well. He can only beat women in elections. Women can't be Freemasons. They can be Order of the Eastern Star, but they can't be in Freemasonry. And of course, the Masons also study the 47th problem of Euclid. But yeah, again, above the Masons are the Jesuits, but DC is the Jesuit Masonic city. You learn about these secret societies, the history, the warnings about them. You look into what JFK actually said, you start to see these are the things he was alluding to. And if he was really assassinated that day and it wasn't all Hollywood tricks, because politics is full of tricks, it could have been that speech that did him in. So, yeah, there really is a whole lot more to the Kennedy assassination. I have a chapter on that in my first book as well, and I've learned more since I wrote it, but these are some of the finer points, and I know a lot of people, their minds go numb with numbers, which is sad. And there's probably something to that with the spells and the spelling, too, because numbers literally starts with N-U-M-B, the word to spell numb, and people do go numb from numbers. They shouldn't, though, because numbers are everything. You're not good with numbers, you're probably getting owned and operated in this world, getting taken advantage of by, everything from the banks to, the media that's putting these numbers in front of your face every day. The rigged sports, the rigged elections. You might want to overcome the spells and the spelling and stop being numbed by the numbers and start to learn them and take advantage of the rigged system like we do. By the way, congrats to the winners. Another future nailed, because we told you at the start of the year why the Thunder would be representing the West in the 79th season when they used to be the Sonics who won the championship in 79, and that's why they had the Griffies in attendance to open the year versus the Lakers when LeBron Raymond James is 79 and he stayed on 79 losses with the Lakers in that opening game. And remember, they even had to announce the death of Fernando Valenzuela at the end of that Lakers game, whose name is also 79, like Cy Young. He was a Cy Young winner like murder, and he pitched in the last World Series with the Dodgers and the Yankees. And by the way, don't forget that shooting's 109, just like Los Angeles is 109, just like Yankees is 109. And the last 3 times presidents got shot, the Dodgers beat the Yankees in the World Series. That was when Kennedy got shot, 63, when Reagan got shot in the 80s, and when Trump supposedly got shot. By the way, last year, Los Angeles won the World Series with their 109th win of the year, exactly 109 days after the Trump shooting hoax. Go check it all out if you think any of this isn't true, because it's all facts, and we had it all called out before it happened. That's why we smoked the World Series again, and we also had LA to win the World Series in spring training. But again, Trump, the draft dodger, wordplay, Masons and Jesuits running all these sports leagues like they run your news, like your Oval Office, like your history book. There's a reason it's all numerically aligned. And don't forget, in addition to the Jesuits giving us the calendar and the language, they're also, the church is responsible for numbering the Bible around that same time. And that 144 number we talked about, not to mention this last election was 144 days after Trump's birthday, like his ex-wife died 144 days after her birthday, and on and on and on. But again, these numbers are biblical. They're used ritualistically over and over. And the information should not numb your mind. It should enlighten your mind and help you no longer fall victim to the number games, which is also the title of my last book, and everyone should read it. And I made it free to download from my Patreon page, patreon.com/Zachary K. Hubbard. I made both my books free to read. You can read the whole thing about the Kennedys as well. So anyway, we'll leave it there for now. And until next time, Truth Seeker.